Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is the Bearded Burton. Thanks for tuning in and watching today's video. So I have just something I was thinking about on this rainy day, sitting out here just doing a little bit of wood carving. And I have 3 knives here that are all different in various ways, but the main thing is they all have different spines on them. And it might come to a shock to some of you because you're looking at these and they're all clearly LT Wright knives, and all LT Wright knives have 90-degree spines on them when they come from the shop. I personally really like 90-degree spines. I would rather have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. But the reason why these are different is because they're all different ages, and that 90-degree spine, just like your cutting edge, eventually dulls or rounds and it's not quite as sharp. So I wanted to show you these 3 knives here pretty quick and just ask you what your preferences are. So down in the comments below, let me know, especially after I show you these, let me know, do you like a 90-degree spine? Do you not want a 90-degree spine? Or after seeing these, which one of these 3 would you prefer to have? So let's start with this one. This is a pretty extravagant and flashy model here. This is the switchback, but this is pretty much brand new. I've not used this much at all, and the 90-degree spine on here is still very much very sharp. And at first, when you're using this, if you're going to do any kind of, carving or any kind of thumb stuff, or where your thumb's up here and you're pushing the wood, this 90-degree spine will eventually give you a kind of a callus. I just have this on my thumb all the time. It peels, but I just have kind of gotten used to it. So this is a brand new from, the shop, 90-degree spine, super sharp. And as you would expect, it has a very sharp spine that can scrape material and give you these nice little shavings. And as this piece of fat wood, it's a really nice piece of fat wood, it will absolutely give you those fat wood scrapings that you need to light this with a ferro rod or a match or whatever. This is pretty much a brand new 90-degree spine, and it's very aggressive. For some people, it's a little too sharp and they don't like it, and it's not a preference for them. So this knife is not brand new, but it's also not super old. I've been using this, I really enjoy it, but it still has a 90-degree spine, but it's not so sharp that it feels like, almost a second edge. So whenever you do push on this and you are carving with this or doing any kind of close-up stuff, it's not as aggressive. There's not as much of a burr. So when you're using it, it still absolutely will scrape, but it's just not quite like a brand new one. So as you can see here, have our same piece of wood, and it still will absolutely scrape. Okay, and it will still absolutely scrape the fat wood here just fine. It's just not quite as sharp as a brand new one, and it's just from use. So it's from scraping, it's from using it. I didn't do anything to this compared to the brand new one. It's just, I know, maybe a year old now. And now we'll look at the oldest of the bunch that I've used a ton. And I've even sent this in for a spa treatment at the shop, but it's been probably 3 years or so. And this has probably no burr at all on it. I can run my finger on this and it's not wanting to catch on my finger at all. So this is a lot more comfortable on your thumb, and when you're doing any kind of close stuff, or if I'm down here and I'm pushing in This is a lot more comfortable and not nearly as aggressive as a brand new 90-degree spine. And again, I didn't file it down. I didn't take sandpaper to it or nothing. It was just from using it and scraping it. And honestly, if this was brand new from the shop and I sat here and scraped a big old pile of fat wood, and especially when you go to scrape bamboo, because the silica content in bamboo, it will knock that 90-degree edge down, that burr, pretty quick. So that's an option for you. But I want to show you close-ups real quick of the three and then just kind of wrap this up. Oh, and even something used like this will still absolutely scrape material, just because it's a 90-degree edge. Okay, it goes from flat to flat, and it's not as sharp, obviously, but it still will 100% scrape your material for you. So we have brand new 90-degree spine. I literally just scraped something for the first time there on camera, and it is very aggressive, and it feels like it's going to cut your thumb if you run it along this way. Okay. Then we have about a year's worth of use 90-degree spine that it's still for sure sharp. Like, it's gripping my finger right here, but it's not, it doesn't feel like it could slice paper. And you can see, I mean, right there, that's a little bit of buildup, but you can see that's just fat wood. Because I'm left-handed, that's where I strike the most. But it's just not as aggressive, but it's still plenty sharp. So you have a 1-year-old, then you have a 5-year-plus old 90-degree edge that absolutely will not, you know, bite into your finger. It doesn't feel like it's gonna, and you can see how worn down it is. Again, some of that's the resin from the fat wood, but it's not near as shiny and new. So there's your 5-plus-year-old, and then we showed you the 1-year-old and the brand new. Well, that's all I had for today's video. Just wanted to kind of get your thoughts. It was some random thing that hit my mind when I was out here carving and enjoying this thunderstorm and had these knives with me. So just let me know down below, do you want a super sharp 90-degree spine all the time? Do you like one that's a little bit more worn in but still capable? Or do you like one that's not near as sharp at all, but it can still get the job done for scraping and stuff? So for me personally, I would rather just go ahead and have a 90-degree spine right off the rip and then just let it wear down. I absolutely do not want a rounded one or, you know, a chamfered one, but I don't mind the brand new ones because I just kind of work through it. And again, my thumb is nice and calloused from doing it, so it doesn't really affect me much. But hope you all have a good one. Thank you again for tuning in and watching today's video. And remember, get outside and enjoy the woods. Use these tools, people.